Hello everybody,
Woo!
it's your old friends of Monday Madness. Welcome back to the Jellyfield Donuts podcast.
Yeah.
Episode 23 folks, and we're into the spooky part of the show.
Woo!
And we are not arse keeping this until fucking Halloween.
I was going to say,
No a chance.
Yeah.
We've been waiting long enough to do this podcast, let's get it done.
I mean, you can hold on to this episode and just drop it on Halloween.
We'll do a special one. We all sound like Vincent Price.
Yes.
Oh, God. So look, I'll do Vincent Price. You can do Tim Curry, and James can pick the
I was
most.
going for Stan, but Stan.
Well, there's nothing spookier than a used ship salesman
Yeah.
from a pirate game. But yes, we could work something out.
Have a dramatic reading of Bert Bot's Pokemon book.
We could do that as well. In fairness,
Yeah.
it could work.
If I can find it.
You can find it, yeah. So, this next episode is called The Tower of Terror, or as people in Northern Ireland would say,
The Tar.
there you go. Try and make a fucking caption out of that, Google Translate. So, narrator, actually I do want to see that on the video version.
Yeah.
We'll just say the Tower of Terror.
The Tar.
Or like the...
T-A-R of T-A-R.
Yes.
Tar.
Tar. So, the narrator recaps the previous episode regarding Ash's forfeiting Sabrina's challenge, the mysterious bearded man who saved them all from the dollhouse, and how their next task is to catch a ghost Pokemon to stand a chance in the rematch, because according to this cartoon, only ghosts can defeat psychics.
They didn't play red and blue.
Yes, this is very true. Although, in fairness, I can kind of see where they're coming from, because, if your two choices are ghosts or, bugs to take on psychics, it's not a great choice.
Well,
but,
especially since you just let your bug go.
exactly, yeah. But your bug didn't learn anything bug-oriented to begin with.
Yeah.
So,
You're a shit trainer.
yes. Well, shit programming, to be fair.
It was shit programming because they fecked up
The typing.
the typing.
Yes.
In first gen.
Let's explain this, right? So obviously the psychic type is very strong as it is, right? So when they're doing the weaknesses, there's a few that are very obvious, like the fire, like weak to water, rock, ground, all that sort of shit. Water, grass, the same way. So psychic was in that sense, an obscure one, because...
It's what are people afraid of?
Yes.
So people are afraid of bugs. People are afraid of ghosts. People are afraid of the dark.
Hence why they added the dark type in Generation 2. The reason they did that was because the psychics were so powerful in Generation 1. Massively.
No,
And
but they programmed it wrong. It was supposed to be that psychics were weak to ghosts.
yes.
But instead they didn't program that, and since Ghastly is the only ghost line and is also part
Poison. That's the difference, yeah.
all ghosts are weak to psychic.
Exactly. So this is kind of like such a redundant episode in a sense, because it's part poison. It counts as super effective because the way the programming was done back then. For example, if Charizard being a fire flying was hit with an ice type attack, it was still super effective, even though it should have cancelled out. Very strange. It's just the way the programming was. But either way, there are two ways of beating psychics at the time, ghosts and bugs. Much to the point, where you do need actual attacks to defeat these psychics, and for ghosts, there's only one move that does tangible damage, which is Lick. The other is Nightshade, and that's fixed damage.
Yep.
So it's not a super effective move.
Yep.
But for bugs, you have a choice of Leech Life, ooh. You've got Pin Missile, ooh, or Twin Needle. Ooh. Oh, watch out, lads. Watch out, psychics. Here we come. We're going to stab you.
And it's such a
Or
bad thing
twice.
Yes, twice.
when the best user of Pin Missile isn't a bug type.
It's Jolteon.
It's Jolteon.
Yeah. Genuinely, that is one of the reasons why I had it as when we were doing the Poke Madness series.
Yeah.
I actively didn't use Alakazam because I wanted to keep it for later gens. That was a wrong answer. But I kept Jolteon because, you'll get the speed advantage and have Pin Missile. I might be able to take out an Alakazam.
Yeah.
And that was the logic. Didn't work out, obviously, but that was the idea. But yeah, literally, if that's the case, if as strong as a bug type user is an electric dog, that should tell you how bad that type was in Generation 1. And it took a long time for that to improve.
Are there any good ones?
Nowadays they are.
Yeah.
Nowadays
So they did Unova, which was Gen 5, and they put out a
range load of
bug
bugs.
types.
Yes.
Including
Scolipede,
which gets faster every turn.
Yes. Or Volcarona, which is an actual fire bug.
Oh, I think I know that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're the strong ones. They were ones that actually, here's some strong bugs.
Yeah.
And you have to work at these to make them work. But yeah. I did the same with Ghosts, incidentally. So everyone, from Generation 4 and 5, every type starts getting love, in a sense. So yeah, after the catch up then, the woods, the team were walking in, started getting foggy, which is no good, according to Ash. You have to make sure they don't get separated. Misty's cold feet start developing, suggesting they don't need to catch a ghost type at all, which is actually a fair point.
Yeah.
If you did the game,
leave the gym away.
if you did the gym leaders in the right sequence, you probably wouldn't have to do this.
I think first that would be a really brave shout for them to do. Just like, okay, let's
Let's
put a pin in Sabrina and come back to her.
And
later.
do the other two. Like, yeah, they could have. In fairness, there's an argument there. But Brock is prevailing here with his braver attitude, suggesting they hold hands.
Yeah.
They don't get separated, of course.
Yeah,
Not because he's clingy. I mean, I wouldn't know what that's like having a clingy person or animal nearby. So Ash and Misty grab hands, but Brock is lagging behind. He asks where they are as the fog gets thicker. You'll notice, by the way, that the animators get a little bit lazy with some of these visuals, where like they'll keep the background the same color and brightness, but they'll darken the character, they'll shade the characters to show you, oh, it's foggy, oh, it's dark, whatever it is, and then they get away with that. It's easier to do a whole background basically. So this is a case here where they start looking like lighter and paler because they're covered in fog themselves. So Brock thinks he's seen Ash's hand, grabs it, but it's actually Pikachu's tail. And naturally, Brock gets shocked for his sins by Pikachu. That also then scares Misty. Misty then scolds Brock for spooking her, and Ash suddenly starts talking in a deep voice, saying that Misty has scared him. Ash says he's feeling like a ghost himself, and he's wearing a skull mask. A comedy skull mask from fucking Scooby-Doo, apparently. So already the game was kind of set, or the show was setting out a stall that this is a bit of a comedy episode.
Well, they've had the creepy doll that's putting people in a dollhouse.
Yes.
That is probably, for a kids show, that's probably enough of that for now.
Yeah.
So
we've made enough nightmares. Let's now go hunting ghosts.
Yeah.
The whimsical type, obviously. Let's also pretend that they're all dead. So obviously this terrifies Brock and Misty, but he says sorry, it was supposed to be a test. If they're going to catch ghosts, they need to be able to conquer fear. It's the only way they'll become great Pokemon trainers. He says to two gym leaders.
Yeah.
So then we see very angry Misty and Brock looming over Ash here for his fucking like Brendan Rodgers 3 envelopes fucking bullshit. So Pikachu then shocks Ash for a stunt as well, which is a fair point.
Yeah.
Misty says they have enough to be scared of than his boneheaded schemes. But Tish, where's Meowth when you need him? Ash agrees then to leave the masks for next year's Halloween, which this would have been kind of coming around at this time, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Initially, yeah. So yeah, makes sense. So then we get a title screen at that point. The tree's clear and we see a somber-looking, foggy Lavender Town. Lavender Town, I don't think we come back to in the show, don't we? Which is such a shame.
It's my favourite town in the game. I love the music.
Yes.
I love the lore.
Is this the right time to talk about Lavender Town in the game? I think it is.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
So Lavender Town, if you haven't heard the music, there's quite a lot to go with. So the music is very infamous. I might actually play a sample of it as we're talking because it makes sense to.
Yeah.
But there is a bit of a story behind the music. If you're playing the game as you would have done in the Western world, it sounds very spooky and creepy and all this sort of stuff. But the Japanese version is a lot different. And I'm not going to play it over that because some people might be upset, might be disturbed by it. Because the Lavender Town music uses what's called binaural beats. And what that is essentially from two different sides. Because again, you had the chance of a headphone jack in Game Boys.
Yeah.
So you've been able to listen through them. And essentially what binaural beats are is that the music is different. There's a sinusoidal beat in each side, so there's left and right, and they overlap, they clash basically. So when you're hearing like a peak in one, you're hearing a dip in the other. And there's like a loop basically in the Lavender Town music that uses those binaural beats. And supposedly the urban legend goes that a lot of kids got very ill, like actually nausea from
No, it was an urban legend. No.
It was an urban legend, but binaural beats can cause nausea if you're listening to them, because your brain is trying to comprehend the two at the same time, and that can cause nausea as well. But the urban legend was that the Lavender Town music in Japan caused a lot of children to get sick, like violently ill, and that's why they changed the music, rather than the case of like the binaural beats were wrecking people's head and they just changed it. But it's a nice little urban legend to have around Pokemon, and it adds to the whole like mythos of Lavender Town being the creepy, like spooky, scary like town basically. And a lot of other stuff about Lavender Town. Just go to Google and everyone has a fucking Lavender Town fan fiction at this stage.
Yeah.
Because it's the ghost area.
Yeah.
It's where people go to die. And it's a very fucked up place, to be fair, because like even in the game, there's people going like, someone's asking, going, oh, do you believe in ghosts? And you go, no. So, oh, what about that hand on your shoulder? And like, there's nothing else about it, you know?
So, did you ever watch the Pokemon Origins
Yes.
show? It was like 4 episodes long, put out for like the 20th anniversary.
I do remember that,
of
yeah.
the games. And episode 3, I think, was the Lavender Town episode.
Yes. It sounded a bit about Mr. Fuji as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So they had that exact scene in it where like, oh, do you believe in ghosts? And there was a slight shadow over Red's shoulder.
Yes.
On that.
I found that very good, yeah. Because like I said, like in Lavender Town they do kind of like really ham it up in fairness, because like there's a Pokemon tower you have to get to the top of, but there's a ghost blocking your way. And the only way to clear the ghost is to find the Silph that identifies the ghost as Marowak, which is Cubone's mother, and the Cubone is in the town as well.
Yeah. So
it's really fucked up in that sense, and all the people in the Pokemon town are all possessed by ghosts, and they're all going like, "Give me blood," and all this very morbid stuff. And so it's really it's cool now, but as a kid it's mental and unsettling you. But everyone's probably going, "This is fucking awesome!" So
you could have skipped that ghost if you had a poker doll to throw at it.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to beat Rocket Game Corner at all.
Not at all.
Just skip that entirely and slide
it's such
off.
a game breaker as well, in a sense. Yeah, it's a funny one. But anyway, that is Lavender Town. Very underused in this series, has to be said. And they kind of as well with the likes of Pokemon Origins and the new kind of Go cartoon. They try and remedy that a little bit by going like, oh shit, here's Lavender Town. Let's go back to see why people were traumatized as children. You know, and it was clearly just about a piece of music with Binaural Beats.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, that's all it was.
It's a creepy town anyway.
It is a creepy town, yeah. That's the whole point. But yeah, that's
but then by Gen 2, whenever you show up there, it's just a modern town.
They've replaced the Pokemon.
They took down the cemetery and put up a radio tower and stuff.
Yes, which is such a weird thing to do. Like, okay, granted, so the Pokemon Tower is a massive graveyard of dead Pokemon and dead humans, right? It's full of people who are possessed by ghosts of dead Pokemon. 2 years later, let's scrap that shit. Get all the dead out here. Dig up all the graves. We're putting in a radio station, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
Fuck the lot of yous. People need to hear Professor Oak's ramblings. Like fucking, he's a fucking Joe Rogan of the Pokemon universe apparently. Let's just smash up a fucking graveyard together and give him a show. So,
if the opportunity for this series was ever said, like, we can make this series,
yes,
but you're going to have to dig up a graveyard first.
Ooh, well, when you weigh the positives and negatives around, you know. So yeah, Ash is very relieved that they get here before dark, and the next show we see is them in the dark at the tower with this kind of like weird like facade, like a kind of like a horned face.
Yeah.
Bit of a clue for who's inside here. And some kind of glaring eyes. Misty remarking it always looks dark around this place, which probably excuses why there was a bit of a time difference between, but however. And Brock says it's the ghost tower where ghost Pokemon hang out. And they stand in the door with the figure of a monster around it. Again, looks a bit like a ghost Pokemon we'll see momentarily. Ash nervously likes what they've done with the place. And the decor and the gothicness and all this shit.
The Korean doll child would suit this place real well.
Well, apparently it wouldn't if you're going by typings.
I mean, I do think it looks more like a Gigantamax Gengar.
It does now. I like to think now they kind of like would have got it from that in a sense where like that's where it would be a very obscure reference now, but you can see where they would have for that form. Yeah, you would have got it there. But it's pretty neat. He obviously reluctant to decide, but Missy and Brock say Ash should show how good he is and head inside. So they work back the comedy setting from earlier on, saying, oh well, Ash was so brave and good at buying a mask. How about you go in and actually fight the ghost yourself, barehanded?
Yep.
And Ash goes, no, remember you were going to help me catch the ghost. It was just a test. Anyone? Why are you running away? And Missy doesn't recall that promise. Brock reminds him that he needs to know how to deal with fear. Which is why we're staying out here and you're going in.
Yep.
Because we're gym leaders and we're really responsible
adults. To be
adults.
fair, they don't need to catch ghost Pokemon either.
They pick their types. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They're rock and water. They're done. They're covered. You don't have to be scared of them. You know? Ash is obviously bullheaded about.
Also, they're not trying to beat a gym.
That's true. They're settled. They're happy with their niche. Yeah, exactly. They already had their Pokemon challenges years ago. They got their spot. It's fine. He says he won't let them stop. He won't let them, being Brock and Misty, stop him from capturing a ghost Pokemon and becoming a master. He looks for Pikachu for encouragement, but he's turned over and gone to sleep in a makeshift bed on the ground. I like that Pikachu brought this bed with him just in case.
I like how he's angry napping as well. It's like, oh, don't put me into this.
Yeah.
Like, that's an angry nap.
I've never had an angry nap before.
Oh.
Like you're an expert in this, so
Yeah.
talk me through the process here, because I've seen you angry nap before on the channel.
Yeah, like literally on the channel.
Yes.
It's just a case of like it's just boiling over, and then rather than actually tipping point, you just calm it all back down in an angry nap, and when you wake up, you've got all that angry energy, but you're more calm and relaxed, so you can focus that anger onto a more suitable outlet.
So it's more like a defense mechanism against something annoying.
Basically, your body shuts down.
Focus energy.
Okay, right.
Your body shuts down, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just go nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when you awaken, you're like ready to go.
And it's definitely not narcolepsy
No.
that you know of.
Not that I know. It's not been diagnosed.
Okay. Right.
Anyway.
Anyway, so Ash isn't happy but agrees with Pikachu that he should try this in the morning, and he pops into his own sleeping bag and tells the other two to wake him up in the morning. Missy does so immediately with a gong that rattles the two of them out of their beds, and Ash still kind of like pleading his case, saying he might be a bit braver in the morning when it's bright out. But yeah, it's not going to work. Watching all this happen from a tower are Team Rocket. Not sure how they were able to overtake Ash and Misty and Brock in the way to Lavender Town, but I guess they found someone to cure them of their freezing issue, or maybe just like they got
The
used to
name
it.
guy.
Yeah.
They went and hung out with him for a bit.
So, you want me to unfreeze you?
Missy got her name to Mindy. And
Well, is that from the book, was it?
That's a reference to the book. There's
Oh.
an error in the novelisation of this episode where Misty's name is Mindy.
Mindy.
So we went to the name. That's in Lavender Town, isn't it? The name changer guy.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, that's where she went off. Became Mindy. Like, oh no, I actually don't like Mindy. I'll go back.
I'm going to switch to Misty,
So
yeah.
that's where they're hanging out.
I love that. So they look there. Team Rocket themselves are looking out from the tower, and pleased that they can make it to Lavender Town, as in the main characters. James says he's no psychic, but sees great things in his future.
He's not psychic.
Yes, and Meowth says Pikachu is in the bag because he was in the sleeping bag. Yeah, Meowth's starting to get a bit bad at this stage. Like, they're getting a bit weak, lads. Come on, that one didn't hit.
No.
They think they should get started, and James runs from the window into the room they're in, but the floor collapses and he falls to the floor below. So this is a very dilapidated, abandoned tower at this point. Rooms galore. Jesse checks on him as Meowth says the floor broke his fall. That's not how it works, Meowth, but thanks for playing. Jesse replying,
He could have fallen further.
he could have fallen. Well, do you know what? That's one way of looking at it. That's a very optimistic view of like, well, you still died, but it could have died worse. You know?
Could have been falling for twice as long.
You could have left more of a mess.
Yep.
So Jesse replying and saying that these old places can be so dangerous, and as she says that, a closet opens and Meowth sees it opening. We actually see it from the point of view of the closet. A face emerges from it, and it's Ghastly, which we've seen before on the show, but this time we've seen it in its natural habitat in a haunted house. It floats over, yawns, and that makes Meowth scream in fear. Jesse chastises Meowth for bad manners and leaving its mouth open because it's like spooked, obviously. But Meowth insists Jesse looks behind her. The Ghastly is looming in shot as he's saying this, and as she turns around, it vanishes because aren't they just such little tricksters, those ghosts?
It's funny, get it?
It is funny.
Oh.
It's hilarious. Ghosts are funny, lads, right? I mean, no one gets any funnier when they're dead, but ghosts do. It's true. The Ghastly then appears again in between Jesse and Meowth. Ghastly is mimicking Jesse as she's saying, "Don't tell me you're seeing things again," and Meowth just scarpers and she tends to get away, goes to scratch the Ghastly, but gets Jesse's face instead.
It's a normal type attack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You idiot. You fool. If only he knew like some good TMs like surf. I mean, he wouldn't have the problem. Cats can surf, right? Google, can cats surf?
Can cats swim?
Cats, no. They probably can, but they hate it. They hate the notion of it.
I'd just rather drown.
Yeah, it actually could, to be fair. Given the choice, it's like, fuck it. Jessie hits the roof, calling Meowth a mangy alley cat that's ruined her beautiful face. Okay. So takes out a massive comedy hammer. I don't know where she had this from. Mm-hmm. She clearly just had the sledgehammer from the last episode.
Yeah.
And
it's reused that like I spent ages drawing that animation of a sledgehammer.
Yes.
Just reuse it.
I will use the sledgehammer as the last thing I'll do. And Meowth gets smacked across the room. Ricochets all over like a fucking pinball. Bit of a hat tip to Pokemon pinball, probably out soon at this point. and falls down the hole where James is, where Meowth mumbles, "It was just a scratch," as if that makes it any better. So Jessie then mourns over her pretty face as Ghastly sneaks behind her. So she's still looking, but you can kind of see the gas like floating around her. And then as she keeps looking, the Ghastly appears in the mirror and spooks her as well. She then gets startled and falls down the hole on top of James and Meowth. So again, comedy stylings with Team Rocket here, folks. Very much a slapstick theme to this episode. James then agrees with James that this place is very dangerous. And she says thanks for breaking her fall. But then she says that the floor gives way and they tumble down again.
Like I said, the floor broke the fall the first time.
Yes. I love that. So yeah, back outside then, everyone's kind of been hearing the cries and wails of Team Rocket here and saying this place must be horrible. And then a very weird look into Brock's psychology here going, maybe there's a torture chamber inside.
Yeah.
Now we know a lot about Brock here. Brock, back inside, Team Rocket appear to have landed at the bottom. Jessie then gives Meowth a slap for no adequate reason.
Yeah,
This is like
just animal abuse.
this is like fuck you.
Poke abuse.
Yes. Jessie then says it must be a nightmare. This must be a nightmare as they get back up. Meowth now has 2 bumps in his head, which I found funny. And Ghastly then appears again and spooks them all over again, and they just basically faint out of pure fear. Back outside again, they're hearing the same wails, but Brock going, I heard a different voice this time because Ghastly had went,
yeah,
so we could hear it this time.
Like, oh, that sounds like that woman that I was in love with up at the lighthouse.
If it was the same Ghastly, that would have been kind of
It's
fun.
lost the ability to talk.
Hello, yeah, no, I'm playing a role this time. It's very close to home. I'm now just a normal ghost. I'm playing one of these things called a Pokemon. Have you ever heard of them? They're all the rage these days.
I don't know,
Laurel
just a
Body
fad.
type character as a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's quite. I'm an artist, you see. So yeah, and then Ash then kind of picks up on what he thinks he's heard Team Rocket here as well. Then so, again they all think, well, maybe we should go inside to see what's going on. And Misty goes, yeah, I think I should go first. And they all start shoving him towards the tower. Again, Ash was supposed to be the brave boy,
Yeah.
and he is indeed the one to open the door, although albeit very reluctantly. And he asks if anyone's home. Misty, knowing how dark it is, door closes behind them, and now it's pitch dark. And this is what I was talking about the animation here. The background has not changed. It's still like bright floorboards and bright surroundings, but they just like blacked out the characters, so they're in pitch black. And it's just like, oh, that's just cheap doing it. Ash then brings out Charmander, who spits out a massive stream of fire to lighten the place up, gets tired and stops. Missy then says they should come back tomorrow when it's brighter. But Ash then reminds her that ghosts don't come out during the day.
So why did he want to wait until the morning?
Exactly. Gentlemen, I found a plot hole. Let's all write to the writers right now to get this fixed. So Brock appears then with a candlestick and Ash tells Charmander to light the candle. Spout of fire lights the candle and Brock himself, who scolds Charmander for it.
Slapstick.
Yep. Pikachu applauds, finding it hilarious because Pikachu just loves seeing people suffer.
Yeah.
Brock leads the way as Misty sees the hole in the floor. They stop walking when they see people laughing around them. Misty wonders where they're coming from, and actually we do find out where they're coming from. It's from a TV. We see 2 people at a bus stop, and it's real kind of like itchy and scratchy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like real kind of like, oh, I found the wallet, and the other person falls over. And watching all this play out are Haunter and Gengar, 2 other ghosts. Oh, sorry, the 3 only ghosts in the Pokemon at this point. They got snacks, they got drinks to go, and they're having a great laugh at all this. There's plenty of slapstick on screen, more laughter from the 2. Ghastly appears through the wall, and they all start laughing even more. The 3 end in kind of this weird, like almost like copying the Team Rocket / protagonist pose. They have their own group photo.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they were watching like Dragon Ball Z. They're doing the fucking Genji group or something. I don't know.
Genji Force.
Genji Force, that's the one. Yeah, just like
Gengar Force.
Gengar Force. There we go. Change approved. That's when the Genyus are all killed off and they become Pokemon. That's how it works.
Or this was a predecessor team of Team Rocket.
Yes, that's it. They're the ancestors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's why they did the motto in old EOV English. Ash and Cora are walking down a corridor and see a door at the end. Missy really wants to get out now because she's now scared of doors for some reason. But Ash says they have to go in. This door is going to have a ghost. I can see it coming. Maybe. Brock says the ghost Pokemon to come out as they only want to say hello. Ash says he wants to catch them. Says, okay, Missy going, you can't, like, don't say that or else they won't come out. Missy has clearly gone on like a paranormal like night out.
Yeah.
And nothing.
She's done those
Ghost
like,
Hunts.
Most Haunted.
Yes.
With David Akra, is that
Derek Acora,
Derek Acora, and
Yeah.
it's like she's been there going, oh no, don't tell
Have you ever watched that show? It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, it's god awful.
It's god awful, but it's brilliant. It's like it's like real fucking like trash TV, but at the same time, like when shit does kick off, obviously it's fake, but they do put some money into it. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Ham it up.
oh, they do. Like, I mean, like there's a great example of it. Like, and like this kind of exposed the show straight away, but it was very much suppressed.
Yeah.
But they did like when they do the kind of the live things. There was that medium Derek Acora. Funny, was a footballer before he was a medium. Would you believe? Yeah, weird one. And he's obviously he has a kind of like really thick Scouse accent. You know, sounds like, he always to me sounded like a bit like Lee Savage. It always threw me off him in a sense. But he just keeps saying the phrase "Mary loves Dick, Mary loves Dick," because they're in a theatre, right? And they were talking about two girls, Mary loves Dick, Mary loves Dick. And obviously, they cut off at that point. They have to relocate to the next part of the theatre, which is an opportunity for them to cut and laugh at the phrase "Mary loves Dick." So somebody had got had obtained the B-roll of them laughing at like, oh, that was so funny, Mary loves Dick, Mary loves Dick. It's like, and like, yeah, so you're either fucking with the paranormal and ghosts, or this is just all a rib to you. And yeah, it's clearly just all a rib. It's funny because, funny enough, when they were getting ratings and they were getting like more viewers, things were getting more spookier and more ghosts were appearing. It's funny how that works on TV, isn't it? Yeah, funny. But yeah,
like he would absolutely shit himself if he went into that ghost tower with Gengar and Hunter and Ghastly, because they, you know,
he'd get possessed by one of them and he would just keep saying Gengar, and everyone's going like, what the fuck?
Gengar loves Dick.
Good, yeah. He's dead now, by the way, actually. Would you believe?
Oh, he's a ghost himself.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a Gengar now.
Gengar.
I'm surprised he didn't warn one, but anyway. So yeah, as I said, like they're obviously in this kind. They end up in this kind of big dining room, basically, and the lights go on as they're talking about it, and Brock thinks it looks like a restaurant. But he thinks it's more like a reception, like a dinner reception, because the dinner, like the table's laid out. So this is the second episode in a row where they're being served foods, but it's a trap. Like
Nothing suspicious.
They're literally using their hunger against them here, which I think is a bit harsh. And they notice something's hanging from the ceiling. It's kind of like one of the kind of pinata type things.
Yeah.
It has a cord and a note saying "pull this." So again, proof that perhaps these Pokemon were human beforehand, because they can know English.
Yeah.
Obviously. Ash says why not, and when he does so, confetti and a banner saying welcome pops out, as they wonder who is welcoming them. The cutlery on the table starts rattling and lifting into the air, so we've got some real shit poltergeist happening here, lads. And they start screaming as objects are thrown at them. Brock gets hit by a chair, but Pikachu and Charmander are sliding on plates, which is a great visual.
Yeah.
And maybe they were dinner, I don't know. Misty and Ash run out, and Brock, Charmander and Pikachu jump to safety and out of the room. So when everything does settle down again, everything's back. The table's tied up and back to where it was. And the ghosts find this hilarious as they appear outside the room. And that's the first half of the show. So
very funny so far. I have
to say, it's a tour de force.
Oh, yeah.
It really is a tour de force, lads. You can't say fairer than that. But yeah, that is the first half. And as we know, when we go to an ad break on the show, we have
Who's That Pokemon?
So
this is your turn, James.
It is,
and Burtbot took the points last round, although there weren't many to go around.
Yep.
It's
So
something.
It's something.
It's not an embarrassing
it's
score.
coming home.
It's not coming home.
So-
We can prove now it's not coming home.
So where we are at the minute, I'm on 31.
Yes,
Jonathan's on 29,
indeed.
and Burkbot's on 22.
Yes.
So
You're there. You're third place.
All I need is 5 now. And
Maybe in 3 weeks' time
in
you
a
might
few
catch
weeks'
it.
time I might get more.
Yeah.
you're the one who's giving the next round after
Like,
this.
yeah.
I love the level of confidence here in the room. It's great.
Yeah.
But James, this is your turn now, so it's
This
up
is
to
my
us
turn
against
now.
it.
So I'm going to give you a Pokedex entry.
Yep.
Okay.
So get ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
I should definitely have had this open already.
That would have been nice.
Yep.
You know. Would you like us to play the Dead Air song while we're waiting, or are you okay? Do you want to keep
Okay,
going?
so this is from Fire Red.
Ooh, okay.
A bewitching aroma wafts from its flower. The fragrance calms all those engaged in battle.
Okay.
I'll go with Burkbot first since she's lower on points.
Okay, I'm gonna say I'm
feel like I'm double guessing myself here, but my initial instinct was Vileplume, so I'm going to go with that.
Neither of those is correct.
I thought it was, yeah. Okay.
Okay, next one is... It's known... dun, 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 dun. Its hidden ability is chlorophyll. So I'll give you that.
You never did chlorophyll, okay.
Bart Bot first.
Bellsprout, no. Again, my initial guess was, you see, the reason I said Vileplume because I know their Dex entry was about the flower as well. It was more pungent, that's what threw me off. So my second guess was going to be Venusaur.
It's Venusaur.
You are so close with Ivysaur. But the reason it wasn't Ivysaur because the flower didn't bloom at that point. It was still the bulb. It was still kind of like spreading out.
Do you know what? I was thinking Venusaur and said Ivysaur.
Oh dear. Oh no.
I thought I had said Venusaur.
Oh.
I hate my life.
Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Fuck's sake.
Oh.
So obvious.
So
That is like the who's that Pokemon equivalent of missing from 3 yards. You do get that, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
open goal.
Open goal. You had it there, and you know what? You have to post, Italy win. So there you go. Anyway, so yeah, that means I'm back in the lead by 2, which means that the next round is between me and you.
2 of us.
Yeah.
Me guessing first.
Yes. Ooh, spicy stuff in it. Make it good. Make it a good one, right? That's all you have to do is make it good. You can be good at this, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Got angry
Okay.
now.
Angry now. Good. So.
Okay, so we'll finish this.
We'll finish the episode, yeah. So everyone's gone outside to catch their breaths. Misty insists she's not going back inside, and neither will Brock. Ash says he must catch a ghost Pokemon, and they need to go inside to do that because clearly ghosts do not go outside.
Mm-hmm.
They're too scared to win themselves.
Absolutely.
Clearly, that's clearly how it
No,
works.
they're bound to the house.
So they all, so they all died in this building.
Yeah.
And they all had to stay here.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated to see. Oh well, sure they fell out the floor. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that checks out.
That's where their body is.
That's where that's it. Yeah, they all died watching TV. They all both got poisoned by their fucking like snacks or something. They both Hunter and Gengar both realised they had a nut allergy, and it just happened to have nuts. What a shame. Anyway, so he looks to his Pokemon for approval, and but neither obliged. Charmander sits fire at them. So everyone. So like, Charmander's just like
Charmander. This is so unlike him.
Yeah, because he was the helpful guy, and now he's just like, no, I'm kicking off now. I'm going through my rebellious phase.
This is where the slaps, like, it's purely because they are having a slapstick episode.
Yes.
It's like, okay, what's funniest? Do we want to shock? Do we want to drown them? Do we want to
Slap by a vine?
slap with vines? Nah, let's burn him.
Let's set him on fire. That's hilarious. So Ash calls his Pokemon cowards, telling him that how are you going to beat Sabrina if they don't go back in there? And I just asked the question: do you want to be losers again? Because if I'm not mistaken, this is the second time that Ash has been actually defeated in the show. Because he did lose to Sandshrew initially, if I'm not mistaken.
He lost to Brock in the first gym battle.
Yes, Brock was a 1, yeah. So there were 3 losses, 3
he
actual losses.
lost the Metapod v Metapod fight.
I think we can call that a draw, James. I think we lost. That was a draw.
We lost time.
Yes. That was like watching the worst 0-all fucking game. That went on for like 3 hours. 0-all. But yeah. So exactly. So when he says that, then Pikachu gets this kind of weird like Nam flashback to the battle with Sabrina. It doesn't go well for them. So both Pokemon are feeling sorry for themselves, and Ash says if they beat the Psychic type, they need to overcome their fear. So that's again reoccurring the pep talk from earlier on. Both Pokemon then actually that works on them, and they all start walking towards the tower. Ash clearly quickly checks if Misty and Brock are coming in, so he's like on the side of the screen, and they'll wait for Ash's side and disappointed faces and move on to the next scene. So, kind of like what you were saying in the last episode, we are getting Ash like doing this on his own. Misty and Brock is going, yeah, fuck this, I'm not bothering.
This is what I'm saying. If it was the case that, Brock is not a doll,
Yes,
then there's a reason for them to have to get a ghost to come back.
precisely, yeah.
There's no stake in Ash.
He could have done this at any time. He could have
Yeah.
gone back when he had actually evolved some of his Pokemon. Yeah, I get what you're saying, yeah. When he came back when he was actually stronger.
Yeah.
Yes. But
But,
obviously didn't.
That's where if they were going to do, like if I was writing the show,
Yes.
is what I'm getting at.
So we'll let you write the next episode, I think is what we're trying to say. So for some reason everyone's a Republican. How does that work? It makes no sense. What?
There are no orange Pokemon left.
Oh, when you get to the Orange
they're
Island.
all ghost types.
We're going to replace him for when we get to the Orange Islands because he's not going to
The
fucking
Green
stop.
Islands.
Yeah, that's going to end well, isn't it? So he walks back in, says that they're back. He'd like to say hello, saying the ghosts should introduce themselves. And he thinks he's seen something, gets the Pokedex out. So the Pokedex explains that all ghosts appear as gas, as a vapor, which would make sense because there's only 3 of them, and they're gas type Pokemon in a sense. So the true natures are shrouded in mystery. So we don't know where they came from, but we just know that they exist. Ash then interprets this as solving the mystery. I'm not sure how he got that from there, but you can see they're shrouded in mystery. Oh, there's a mystery. I know what mysteries. I can solve that with my brain. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. So there's voices then coming down from downstairs. They sound like Team Rocket arguing, but obviously Ash doesn't pick up on that. So he goes, oh, the ghosts are down there. I'm going to get them. So Ash tells Pikachu to use an electric type attack. Pikachu zaps Team Rocket as a group. Then Charmander uses a fire type attack and torches all of them as well. So Ash says it's working and then throws a Pokeball. And all it does is just hit Jessie square in the face.
Yeah.
So her pretty face is now been smacked with a massive fucking ball. So that's going to go down well in the Jessie household. And Jessie's upset about her face again, looks up and sees Ash wondering if he's caught a Pokemon. So again with the weird kind of the brightness here is the case, like Ash can't see in the dark, but the dark can see in Ash. So yeah, it's weird. But Jessie then keeps getting annoyed, promises that Ash is going to pay for what he's done. So there's a bit of a visual gag here where there's a fire in Jessie's eyes, like she's actually a contemptuous rage.
Yeah.
And James notices this himself, but then MF goes, oh yeah, her hair's on fire as well. And so it is. She didn't put the fucking fire out. So she runs around the place, and from Ash's point of view, it is like an ember going around.
Yeah, running around the place.
So he thinks that's the ghost then as well. And then Jessie's fire eventually goes out, her hair is ruined, she collapses, and Ash goes, oh, the fire's gone. I'll get the ghost next time. So again, just completely like not knowing, like you've already met the gas.
He is a dick here.
He's a dick, but he also doesn't realise, oh shit, I've been told they look like a gas. So therefore, they'll look like a fire instead. Oh, did I just meet a ghost like 3 weeks ago? No, can't remember, never mind. Doesn't matter.
Happen.
Yeah, didn't happen. So anyway, as he says that, a haunter appears behind him and Pikachu's first to notice. Ash then turns around but the haunter is gone. Ash then thinks Pikachu is seeing things. He turns around and meets Haunter face to face.
Yep.
Haunter then pulls a scary face and Ash runs away to Haunter's amusement. Ash asks if this is a ghost Pokemon. Pokedex says, no shit, it's a Haunter. And says, no further information. So, I don't know if this is, if you guys picked up on this or not, but like, the ghosts in this episode are kind of treated like they're 3 separate ghosts.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
As opposed to them being evolved forms. And I kind of notice that even from the design. Like, there's not a natural progression.
Yeah.
From like gas ball to like ghost with hands and then a figure of a shadow essentially. It loses its gaseous
Disagree.
state.
Yeah, I'd say like it's coming from other world and like you're getting it coming through that void.
It's more
like
visible.
this. So it's the start of the face coming through, then
The body,
it's starting
the hands,
to crawl
yeah.
through, then it is fully true, and then the megaform is, hey, I'm actually fully here now.
Yeah, do you know what? I can see your side of the
you know,
argument.
like the old photographs where ghosts are meant to be in, and you have the kind of different stages of the ghost photograph. So it's like
You have
the weird face in the drawer, a creepy hand. Yeah, so I like James's idea there. I hadn't thought of it myself really.
Like if you take a look at the first game's pictures
sprites,
of
yes.
like you could say that Ghastly is just it's starting to come
The
through
eyes
the
are
void.
the same, nearly. In according to that photo.
They certainly keep the same face. is the thing. And then,
Yeah.
as you said, the body becomes more apparent, and when it's the Gengar, then it's like the actual shadow is arrived, in a sense. Yeah, I can see your point, yeah. But I think at least from the purpose of writing this episode, they kind of treat it as if they're three separate ghosts.
Yeah,
They're not
so
involved
Ghastly
forms.
is a ghost is of something, Haunter's a ghost of another
something
person.
else, yeah.
And yeah.
That's what I was thinking. As opposed to it being an actual family of ghosts, if you like.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were a family, and this is all just been more fucked up than I just thought it was.
Or maybe Gengar is just Clefable's shadow.
Well, we will get to that in the Pokedex dear, won't we? We will get to that. So, again, so the Ash tells Charmander to attack it, but it's disappeared again. Haunter reappears over Ash's shoulder. So a lot of like kind of cat and mouse stuff here. Taps him on the shoulder. Ash thinks it's Pikachu. Tells him to stop bothering him. Ash happens to him again. Basically, Haunter keeps doing it until Ash grabs his hand, realizes it's Haunter, and runs away. I'm not sure how you would have felt it was a Haunter, just like a kind of a ghost hand, but maybe that's a Lavender Town reference there. Like it's actually Haunter's hand on your shoulder. Ash says he's not scared, he's just a bit surprised.
Yeah.
Which is like very 10-year-old like boy talk. I'm not scared, I'm just pissed myself. It's okay, shut up. Tells Charmander that he's up next. Ash then tells Charmander to use its Leer attack. Not sure how that's going to help matters, but here we go. Then Haunter actually does the same thing. So after a while, then Charmander pulls a funny face himself. Again, this actually doesn't make sense for Charmander, in a sense. It just is a means of showing, the Haunter likes like jokes. It's fun. It likes to be funny, and that's literally the reason that it does this. So it makes Haunter laugh. Charmander turns around, which distracts him into getting linked by Haunter, which is it's one of those. We get a few of these scenes. This is a scene from the opening titles of Pokemon. So knit that in your card, folks. You take that one off, and this obviously paralyzes Charmander, and Ash returns to him. So Haunter mocks him with another goofy face. Ash maintains he's not scared of him. Nuh-uh, definitely not. I'm a brave boy. As he says that, Gengar raises through the floorboards in like a proper "here's a ghost" surprise. And then Ash can't believe there's more of them as Gengar swats him with a paper fan, which in fairness is probably more of a ghost type move than he gets in the game. So
yeah, like
on the game he has Nightshade.
Yeah, Nightshade and Lick.
Is that meant to be a shade? A lampshade, and they've just misdrawn it as a fan.
That could be it. Like it's like, is it? He used the attack Nightshade. What the fuck is that? Just use a paper fan. Fuck it's Japanese. People will get the humor.
You know, you can create shade with that. Like make it look like nighttime and a moon.
Sure, why not? I'm open to anything. So Haunted and applauds as the two laugh. Ash uses his Pokedex, which says, "It's Gengar. I don't know. Stop asking me."
Now here's the thing. Gengar is known because in the very first scene, it's Nidorino against Gengar.
Gengar, yeah.
So it's known.
There's a ghost type trainer in the Elite Four, and you don't know what ghosts are. There's 3 of them. It's not that hard.
Okay, hold on. Well, Professor Oak wants Ash to fill the Pokedex, so it's going to be incomplete anyway. So,
but it tells him like, "Hey, dumb shit. You know, Pidgeys are grand for first-time trainers." It's telling Ash things he doesn't know, so it's not like the Dex is only telling things Ash, like explaining things on Ash's level.
But that would have been stuff that like Oak would have already pre-programmed into the Pokedex.
Yeah.
Professor Oak mightn't have gotten to meet Gengar before, like, oh well, Ash is never gonna make it to Lavender Town. Like, sure, he's gonna, he's
gonna die in a ravine somewhere.
Yeah. He'll become a ghost himself before he meets a ghost Pokemon.
Funny you should say that.
No.
By the way, good morning.
Also, hello, psychic type. When did you jump in? Ash and Pikachu do look on and sees Gengar bonk Haunter on the head, and both are laughing at it. So again, slapstick has been the theme of the episode. Ash doesn't get it, calls them both weird, and then both of them just go mild shock. Gengar throws the fan away, and both start doing kind of like stretching, like they stretch themselves up and down. It's a funny visual, in fairness. Ash asks if they're trying to be funny because the routine doesn't work on them, and like Pikachu's got the arms swelled and goes, "Nope, not funny." Clearly, Ash and Pikachu are more of a yes minister, kind of like cerebral political humor types.
No, they're fans of like
satire, like
they're they love "Have I Got News for You."
Yeah. They're straight up. They're all over it. Yeah. In the news this week, Sabrina finds 3 more people in the dollhouse. Cuts the dollhouse. Laugh. Love it. So both ghosts recoil in shock and flop to the ground, and then like they do a Shining scene where they both die and the snow starts like building over them. It's like, oh, that's an odd reference to throw in here, but fuck it.
It's just a children's show.
Children need to learn about Jack Nicholson as quick as they can, James. It's just the way it works. If you're gonna watch movies, you have to get there straight away. That's just how it works. He says that not knowing that he watched The Shining when he was 10. Ash quips that their comedy leaves him cold and calls him pretty sad. It's like, hang on, you were literally the 180 here was like you were terrified of everything. You didn't want to go into the house, and then you realised that the ghosts were just fucking idiots. Yeah. And went like, guys, you're pretty sad. I was like, dude, like
Ash is trying to neg them into joining his team.
Well, he's doing a smashing fucking job of it by criticising their art.
That's the plan.
Ridiculous. Like, these ghosts could have been the greatest improv comedians of our time, and you wouldn't have known, because now they're ghosts. It's sad, really. But anyway, both of them start sinking through the floorboards. Ash tries to grab them, but smashes into the floor before he could. And as he does this, a chandelier overhead starts rattling, falls to the ground, and crushes both Ash and Pikachu.
That's the series, folks.
And finally, after all this, after being swept in a tsunami, after being hit by several different types of Pokemon, after being crushed, after being caught in a shipwreck, finally Ash and Pikachu actually die. Because Pikachu tries to zap to try and get it off, it doesn't happen, it just switches his light back on, which obviously makes the three ghosts chuckle. And they start applauding how funny it is, and then they realise, oh shit, they're not moving. And Gengar goes, oh, is that bad? Did we kill them?
It's great.
And Hunter goes, oh, we did kill them, but wait, check this shit out. So he grabs both Ash and Pikachu, grabs their souls, so they're translucent versions of Ash
so
and Pikachu.
So they haven't changed shape into a Ghastly or a Hunter or a Gengar.
They just shaded
so
out. Yeah. Which it's kind of a pity, because it would have been funny to just like see their kind of top half and the kind of Casper like fucking Esper at the bottom, but yeah, they just wasted the opportunity, didn't they? So Hunter and Lion stack them up in midair, and they both wake up to see that they're floating above their corpses. And Ash goes, what's happened here? And Hunter then obviously starts explaining with his hands that they're all ghosts, and Ash says he doesn't want to be a ghost yet. And Hunter goes, yeah, are you sure? Watch this. Oh well, that's nice. That's cute. No one really wants to be a ghost yet. They float higher up the tower. Ash insists that he doesn't want to go. So what happens then, all five of them appear in the night sky above the tower, and indeed in Lavender Town. And they float over this is weird. They float over and they look at the city, and I think this is a fuck up because they show Saffron City.
That's what I was thinking.
Not Lavender Town.
Yeah.
Lavender Town does not have city skylights and like light pollution. It's Saffron City they're showing.
Yeah.
So they got the wrong vista for this episode.
I mean, Lavender Town could just be a suburb off of.
It's a very dead suburb, though. In fairness, like it's not like it's not somewhere you go to for your fucking to live, like, unless you are just weird, like, you know. But yeah, it's a weird one. So he's quite impressed at the view, and
I mean, it took Ash like from end of an episode to start of the next episode to get there.
Yeah.
So I do think Lavender Town is supposed to be right next to
like an actual satellite of. Yeah, you could be right there. You could be right, but yeah. I suppose on the map as well, it does kind of make sense. It's a bit of distance, but not much. But it's definitely meant to be Lavender Town because he sees like Misty and Brock down at the tower. So yeah, Ash then thinks he can have some fun now that he's dead. Misty speculates that Ash has been there too long and maybe they should go in to see if he's okay. As Brock agrees to that suggestion, Ash appears kind of upside down.
Yeah.
And like just kind of looking at her. Ash then says in a ghostly voice that Misty's really worried about him. Misty turns around, sees nothing, but was fairly sure she heard a voice. So, like the ghostiness isn't like very close to the bone. So he's kind of distant. He's far away. He's distant.
Yeah, like that kind of thing of like, that the site or what are they called? Like Derek
apparitions. The mediumship. Yeah,
yeah.
I get what you mean. So Misty turns. Ash then says it's time to come for a ride. So he grabs Misty and lifts her into the air. So again, she can barely hear her, can't see anything, but can get grabbed. So yeah very internal rules here for this. So she gets lifted into the air. She's flailing, and Ash starts laughing it off, screams that the ghost has got her. Ash says that the ride's over and tells Brock to catch her, which he does just about. He's like, well, thanks for you, Ash, for making that happen. Yeah, really, if you turn into a ghost, you're just an asshole, apparently. Misty then recognises the voice and reckons something terrible has happened to Ash. Both of them run into the tower as both Ash and Pikachu start soaring through the air with the three ghosts in tow watching along. Again, another shot from the opening titles. But if I'm not mistaken, they haven't kind of coloured in the opening titles rather than greyed out.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of a trick there to pull on us.
But he hasn't learned to fly. He's just dead.
He's just an idiot. Yeah, he's dreaming all this. This is part of the. It didn't happen in the war. It never happened awards. So then they fly through city, forest, all sort of stuff. Haunter then overtakes them and cuts across them. Haunter looks like he's about to eat them, but Ash and Pikachu pass through. And Ash knows, oh, you fooled me. And they all have a big laugh about it. So afterwards then they go back into the tower and Ash is brought into this kind of playroom. This kind of giant playroom that's just here for some reason. I'm not sure why it's here to begin with, but that probably adds a lot to their potential backstory.
Yeah, like why are they so goofy and clownish? Like, are they actually kids?
Could be.
Could well be.
Could very well be, yeah.
They died in a room that happened to have like Laurel and Hardy playing on the TV, and they didn't have the power to change the channel.
And then therefore just like
they think they don't know they're being funny. They just think they're communicating to people.
that's all they know. Like, in fairness, yeah, that's not outside the realms of possibility. You know, like they had to be alive before they were ghosts, so it could be anything at that rate. And as we kind of established from other Dex entries, dead humans could be Pokemon, because there's a few others are like mischievous, and a few others are like that in a sense, where it could be like a humanoid that is now a ghost. Yeah. So yeah, obviously he's brought into the playroom. There's a carousel, slide, a little kind of like ducky, like a little paddling pool, all this sort of stuff. Haunter points at the carousel. Gengar's balancing on a ball. Ghastly's swinging. So they're all obviously they're playful little spirits essentially. The real they've kind of gone for the Casper friendly ghost type gimmick here.
Yeah.
Ash then speculates obviously they just wanted someone to play with, and they all had an agreement. Ash realised that's what it was all about, rather than actually scaring people, because I mean, why would you be scared of ghosts? People, come on. Perfect.
They're just funny, goofy kids.
They're just gimmick. They're just wacky people. Pikachu's now on the swing. Ghastly is having a lovely time doing it. Ash now understands why. They have been lonely for such a long time, but admittedly says he can't stay and play. He's got plenty of adventures still to do and opponents to compete
Gotta go
against.
play in a dollhouse, guys.
I mean, I'm not a girl. I can't do that. It's rules against it. And of course, fulfill his dream of being a Pokemon master. He says he has to go, much to the disappointment of the three ghosts. He says he'll miss them all, as all of them really dramatically weep. So it's like, no, the real cartoonish crying.
I mean, they could just turn around and be like, yeah, you're dead.
They could have just
You
gone
don't get a choice in this.
A chandelier fell on your head, you numbskull.
They could just go, ha ha ha, no. they could have that power. It's like, ha, no. Like, what if they had thought of the move being, look, Ash was fucked. He couldn't escape. So back at the chandelier, Misty and Brock have dragged Ash and Pikachu's corpses away from the crime scene, are now trying to wake him up. Again, perhaps the wounds of being crushed might have given the game away, but they look fair. They look fine. Perhaps they were just knocked out, and somehow their souls were ripped from their bodies. Because again, that can happen. The five ghosts arrive at the scene. Ash sees Misty pleading for him to wake up, and Ash says it's time to go back. They land back in their bodies and wake up. Ash then says sorry for the worry. He's glad to be back. And Missy
sorry for dropping you from a height.
Oh, you have to be there. It was so funny. You have to be there. It was so funny. I'll explain later. It's grand. I love as well that Missy is trying to show she didn't care. It's like, yeah, I'm glad you're okay. Definitely not Stockholm syndrome. Ash
Just want my bike.
That's all. That's it. Ash then looks up to the roof where the three ghosts are laughing away, they're all having a great time. Dawn breaks then as everyone walks away from the tower, Misty reminding Ash about catching a ghost Pokemon. Ash says, nah, it's impossible to catch them, because obviously they're ghosts. Didn't even try. Maybe
when he tried, he died.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't want to die again.
Yeah.
Because then he could actually be stuck in the playroom. Brock then asks how he'll beat a psychic Pokemon, to which Ash says he may have to use his sense of humour. A bit of a warning for next episode, by the way.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, emphasis on the shadow. Pikachu then tells Misty and Brock to look behind them, which they do. Haunter has appeared and pulls a face that makes them run away. Ash and Haunter laughs and starts pulling more faces, as the narrator suggests that Haunter had so much fun, he decided to join Ash on his adventure, and suggests that Ash may now stand a chance against Sabrina. But, of course, I hear you asking from beyond, what happened to Team Rocket during all this? Well, back in the playroom, we see Ghastly and Gengar watching as Team Rocket are spun in the carousel tied to the horses. So they weren't allowed to leave. Like Ash and Pikachu were allowed to leave. Team Rocket, still alive by the way, are now tormented by 3 very tricky ghosts.
And we never find out how they escaped this, so we're just going to assume they're there forever now as ghosts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
I'd say the ghosts got bored of them and threw them out.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that was it. It was just like, oh, these guys are no fun, throw them out. And they're all pleading to get off, but the ghosts are having too much fun. And that's the end of the episode, would you believe? So now we are primed to go back to Sabrina now with our new haunter friend, who is absolutely going to win the battle for us and take us on our word for that.
Hey, like, does he count as a caught Pokemon though?
He does count.
Does
Count.
he?
Like, I know-
There's no Pokeball.
But right, okay, but he got rid of Butterfree, so he only has the 5 Pokemon
Yeah.
with him at the time. So there
Mhm.
is room for him, but we never see him in the Pokeball.
I think the internal logic was that you can't physically put a ghost in the Pokeball. It just goes with you. It's there. It'll disappear. It'll reappear and so forth. That's I think the internal logic of this episode. Whereas, like, I'm sure, like, later on, the Gengar will just appear in a Pokeball, you know, kind of way.
Yeah.
But for the purpose of this episode, Haunter is part of Ash's team. So I would count it as a captured one, but obviously with Butterfree, it's gone quickly thereafter. So
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So anyway, speaking of, let's jump into the Pokedex. So obviously we have 2 new entries this week, and we will jump straight in with Haunter. So. Again, a fun fact for you all. In the beta, Haunter's name was Spectre.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
which
can
makes
get
sense,
behind
yeah.
that, yeah.
So obviously it's in fact, if you remember did you get the trainer survival guide? It's like a book basically to show you how to play Pokemon Red and Blue.
No, I didn't
think
have that.
it sounds familiar.
Yeah, so funny enough, they didn't change the book at certain points. It's a very old book because they had the trainer survival guide was out first for Pocket Monsters, if you know what I mean, for Red and Blue, for Red and Green I should say.
Yeah.
And then they replaced it with the actual like Western version of it, which had Red and Blue instead.
Right.
But
It's still called Spectre.
in the translated version, it's still called Spectre. Yeah.
Huh.
So they forgot to change it. I think that happens for a few of the Pokemon as well. But yeah, in that one they forgot to do it. It's basically it goes without saying. It's obviously meant to be kind of a ghost of some kind. They reckon in some part that Gengar and Haunter have a bit of inspiration from the Cheshire Cat because of the smile.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
So-
they could appear smile first if they had animated that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they have the long tongue and so forth. So they obviously are based off Japanese like yokai and so forth. But here's a fun fact, right? Have you wondered why Lick is a ghost type move in Pokemon?
No, explain it to me.
Okay, so they think it's supposed to be a vampiric licking, right?
Okay.
Okay. So the reason that is
Again, that makes no sense.
it does if you know about the Dila. A Dila is a Philippine spirit that supposedly licked the life energy of sick people until they died.
Okay.
So supposedly, what they reckon is since they are a ghost type Pokemon, they gave them the move Lick as a ghost type move because they're all meant to be Japanese yokai and ghosts and ghouls and stealing souls from the dead and from the sick and so forth. And they use the inspiration supposedly from the Dila, which is a Philippine spirit, and the backstory of them is that they licked people until they died. Essentially,
Fair
they licked the
enough.
life force out of them. Essentially, and yeah, it's just essentially that like. Again, it's supposedly it's a bit of I think it's a bit of a stretch myself, but it would make sense why Lick in particular is a ghost type move when it doesn't need to be. You know, it could just
Yeah.
like anyone can lick, but for some reason it's a
Not
ghost type move.
Lickitung.
No, Lickitung, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They didn't learn Lick in Gen 1.
because it's a ghost type move, and ghosts and normal don't meet,
Yeah.
which is so bizarre.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's supposedly the reasoning. Whether it's true or not, I think is down to interpretation. But there you go. And it's as simple as that. Gengar, on the other hand, now, so Gengar is perhaps one of the more is one of the funner Pokemon, it has to be said, competitively. In terms of trivia, fun fact: Ken Sugimori, this is his favorite Pokemon. He's one of the lead designers of Pokemon.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for explaining that.
yes. So this is his favorite. Out of all the 1,000 Pokemon that are there now, Gengar is his best boy. He loves them the most. And as you kind of gave away earlier on, James, a little bit of a potential, I suppose you can call it a Pokemon urban legend about Gengar.
Yeah, so it's called the Shadow Pokemon.
Yes.
and its body, if you were to match it up against a Clefable, they do match.
They
so
do
the
match,
spikes on Gengar would match like the horns and the wings on
Clefable, yes.
I think as well, from right, they're same height as well.
Same height.
Or similar height.
Similar height, and obviously the weight is different because Gengar is going to be lighter.
Yeah.
But the height is similar, if not the same. But yeah, and it's kind of the obviously it's meant to be from the fact that it's one of the original monsters, the capsule monsters. So that's why there's a lot of like horned Pokemon, because you had like the Rhyhorn, Rhydon, the Nidorinos were all based off they're all taken straight from that, and hence why Gengar and Clefable look exactly like each other, because the idea was that Clefable is a Pokemon in its own right, but then Gengar is its shadow, is supposed to the kind of logic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But that also means we can reinterpret it as if, Gengar is a dead fucking Clefable.
Yep.
You know, which is possible. We don't know. So in terms of its origin, obviously, I think a lot of inspiration comes from the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. You can definitely see it more in Gengar, I think. The Cheshire Cat. That kind of cheekiness to it.
And Ghastly as well.
But most of that line, in fairness, have the smile, the grin, the very kind of cheesy grin. So yeah, I think it works that way. And obviously we have the kind of the backstory about potentially it being a dead Clefable.
Yeah.
Now you probably wonder where the name comes from, Gengar, because obviously you've had Ghastly and Haunter. They're all like very close to the name. But Gengar is supposedly, at least going by the Japanese name, short for doppelganger.
Which was then doppelganger of the Clefable.
Yes. Exactly, because it's a double of a person, so it's again for someone who's the actual backstory of Gengar, it pretends to be people's shadows. Yeah. That's the whole idea. So hence why, if it's meant to be like a phantom of that type, hence why it was called doppelganger. Yeah. So that's how it goes there, and funny enough, then it's also the similarity to the Danish word gengangar, which is a type of ghosts in Scandinavian folklore.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think that is coincidence now, in fairness. But yeah, it's funny how that works. And obviously in Japanese, the actual name is just called Gengar, so it's taken literally from the word itself.
Yeah.
Whereas in French, it's called ectoplasma for some reason, because the French obviously have their own special words for some reason. But yeah. Gengar also gets a lot of love in later generations. It gets a mega form, which was, if you're into competitive play, is very powerful.
Yeah.
You see it a lot.
So its ability in the mega form's ability means that you can't swap out.
Okay.
So.
Yes. So you can't change.
You can't switch out. Yeah. You're locked in.
So you can put like the move Curse inflicts like 1/8 damage or a quarter damage every turn.
Yes.
One or the other.
I think it could be that, yeah.
So you can trap something in. You can perish song, which means everything will die in 3 turns. They can't escape, but Gengar can. There's plenty of ways of being a dick.
Yes.
If you have the Gengar.
It's a very cruel mistress, it has to be said.
Yeah.
And then in obviously with the Mega Forms then was very powerful in its own right. And then in the most recent game, Pokemon Sword and Shield, where they got rid of Mega Evolutions and kind of replaced the mechanic with the Gigantamax and Dynamax gimmick. Gengar gets a unique Gigantamax form, which is this kind of like, it kind of looks like more like a ghost tent, is the way I kind of described it. It looks like a massive tent, like a circus tent. But in actuality, as we were kind of mentioning earlier on, it kind of looked more like the doorway to the tower that we had in this episode. Now again, I have no idea if they did base that off the fact that it looks like the door, or they went with this kind of the ghost kind of carnival
and it's a happy coincidence
aspect instead. I think it's a coincidence myself, from just even kind of looking at where he would have based it from, but it's up to your interpretation, whichever you feel.
I mean, in either case, like the Mega Form and the Gigantamax form, they're not entirely dissimilar.
No, and that's it. And obviously, I suppose it's painful to say then, in terms of the typing, like Haunter and Gengar follow Ghastly being a ghost poison.
Yeah. So
when we were talking earlier on about the ghost types are not going to be that good against Sabrina because it's still a poison type.
Yeah.
It's not going to be. It's still going to be weak to psychics.
Yeah.
So, lads, you should have kept your bug. You would have had a better shout. But who are we to argue with the writers of a 90s TV show, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially ones that don't quite pay attention to the source material.
Yeah.
So they really don't, in fairness. But yeah, that's us, lads. So that's the episode done. And when we come back to the show, it's time to take on Sabrina again.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, this is going to go badly.
With our new ghost friend. So
And her Molly Dolly.
you I wonder will we get that weird backstory we were promised with the framed picture and the man who could teleport and all this sort of gimmick. We'll only have to tune in to find out.
Woo!
So
Wait.
yes, it's gonna be exciting. So that'll be next week, lads. But for now, thank you very much for listening as always. I'm sure you've been listening to this on the Low Blows Network. If you have, please give them a follow. They do their weekly wrestling recap that is top banter, as we can say, because I'm the only one to listen to it. These two aren't wrestling fans, take my word for it. And they also have Ask Low Blows, which is even more banter because they literally have no rules. It's up to you what they have to talk about. So you can literally ask them anything and they're obliged to answer. It's a contract they have to sign. It's very complicated. And if you're watching this on the Nerds channel in video form, thank you very much for supporting the channel. And by all means, tune in for more of the same. But until then, guys, we'll see you for next time when the Psychic Showdown continues.
Woo!
Bye.
Woo!
Ooh.